Tonight on Y News. Soldiers and police remain on heightened alert in major cemeteries this Undas. Despite stern warnings from authorities, hundreds of contraband are still confiscated from visitors at Manila North Cemetery.
The Philippine government hopes that fishing without Chinese interference in Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal will last long. A low-pressure area has already entered the Philippine area of responsibility and is likely to bring moderate to heavy rainfall in the coming days.
UNICEF reports that 1 in 7 children around the world is breathing highly polluted air. And autumn draws spectacular picture of West China while visitors continue to flock China's ancient architecture at this time of the year.
Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center, this is Y News with Angelo Castro III, Gerry Alcantara, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Only a few passengers arrive at the Araneta bus terminal today, but authorities maintain tight security in the area. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Mrs. Agapita wasn't able to buy bus tickets last Friday due to the large number of passengers at Araneta bus terminal, but today she was able to buy one. She is bound for Tacloban. She says it is less stress to travel now because only a few passengers are in the terminal.
Ang ticket namin ay ngayon na kasi yung yung sold out na.
Small number of passengers arrive in the terminal since early this morning as compared to the volume of passengers last Friday and Saturday. Despite this, LTO and LTFRB continuously checking the condition of every bus. They hold a total of 6 buses that failed to pass the safety standards since Friday.
Ang common is yung tinitingnan natin yung mga gulong, saka yung mga stud na may mga problema, yung parang tornilyo ng gulong. Saka yun yung broken windshield, yun ang tinitingnan natin. Kalimitan yun yung problema. Saka yung fire extinguisher nila, kalimitan expired kaya pinapapalitan namin.
Guards, however, continuously checking the luggage of the passengers, while PNP says there is no report of crimes and untoward incident just yet.
We are not putting our guards down, no? So tuloy-tuloy ang ating vigilance, ang alertness, no?
Meanwhile, the management of the terminal expects that the volume of passengers will again increase by tomorrow night or on Wednesday morning. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Passengers bound for Cebu and Cagayan de Oro are disappointed on being stranded for long hours while the Philippine Army adds soldiers in ports this Undas. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Ports are still in full alert status, although there are already few passengers traveling to provinces today. The Philippine Army is also on duty to make sure that there will be no untoward incidents to occur in ports.
It's part of our job eh. So wala po silang dapat ikatakot. Common na po sa isang lugar, lalo na po sa mga ganito, na meron tagang mga security measures na pinatutupad.
According to the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary, there are no reports of valuables missing or cases of theft so far.
Mas maayos ngayon kasi katulad niyan may K9 na rito. Dati ang K9 doon lang sa may Makapagal. Ay ngayon, nung nilipat yung terminal dito para sa passenger, mas maayos, mas maganda.
Based on the overall assessment of the Philippine Maritime Manila Police, the operation of ports this year is peaceful compared to the previous holiday seasons. From October 25 up to this morning, there are more than 20,000 passengers who have traveled to their provinces. Next week, Port Administration expects the influx of passengers returning to the metro from provinces. Meanwhile, passengers bound for Cebu and Cagayan de Oro are in dismay. They were supposed to travel at 7:30 in the evening but were moved to travel tomorrow at 11 in the morning.
Ay sana yung schedule kalagay nila ituloy nila, hindi yung nandito na kami tapos yun saka pa nila sabihin na delayed sila.
Dapat nag-ayos sila ng schedule talaga, yung matuloy.
In a text message, To Go Shipping Company explained to passengers that their travel was delayed because of the delayed ship travel before due to Typhoon Karen and Lawin. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Philippine National Police says they will continue to provide tight security inside the Manila South Cemetery until the November holiday is over. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Thousands of people arrive at the Manila South Cemetery today to visit their departed loved ones as part of the annual tradition of Filipinos.
Para hindi mapagsabayan sa marami bukas. Kaya ngayon, mas maganda. Maluwag pa.
Hindi masyadong maraming tao. May baby kaming kasama, so para mas madali kaysa November 1st.
To check on the security, NCRPO Police Chief Superintendent Oscar Albayalde roamed around and inspected the area early this afternoon. He says more than 100 policemen are deployed around the vicinity, along with the bomb squad, some AFP Marine officers, and officials of the local government of Manila. Albayalde assures that they have not received any threats but maintains that the PNP will remain in full alert status after it was raised following the Davao City bombing incident. They will remain in Manila South Cemetery until the evening of November 2.
Right after yung Davao incident, mayroon tayong augmentation coming from the Armed Forces of the Philippines na mga around 155. Hindi pa kinukuha sa atin yun. Since na hindi pa naman tayo nagbababa ng alert status natin, hanggang ngayon nasa full alert status pa rin tayo.
Cars, motorcycles, and ordinary bike are not permitted to enter the vicinity, and only electric bikes for persons with disabilities are allowed. In the entrance, security personnel have confiscated various items including bladed weapons, paint materials, and sound system. Aside from medic centers near the entrance, the Manila City Hall has supported senior citizens with free water, candle, and use of wheelchairs.
Masakit yung tuhod kasi makakatulong nga. Malaking tulong.
To ease waste problems brought by influx of people in the cemetery, Chuchi Foundation stationed a booth that collects and recycles plastic materials. The PNP has estimated more than 13,000 people who came and went in the Manila South Cemetery today, and they say more are expected to arrive tomorrow. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Hundreds of assorted contrabands were confiscated from the visitors at the Manila North Cemetery. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
Despite the repeated warnings from authorities, hundreds of contrabands are still confiscated from visitors at Manila North Cemetery. These include ice pick and bladed weapons, wine and pointed and fragile objects such as glass containers and bottles. Animals and pets, loud audio systems, and instruments such as guitar are also prohibited inside the cemetery.
Sana po magdala tayo ng garbage bag para yung basura po natin, iuwi po natin. Saka huwag na po tayo magdala ng mga pinagbabawal na taon-taon natin lagi sinasabi.
Authorities also advise visitors not to bring pricey belongings, such as jewelry that will only attract petty criminals. Around 600 policemen were deployed inside and outside of the cemetery.
24/7 din ang pulis dito. All the guards here in the cemetery.
Early this morning, a 2-year-old fainted because of heat and an 8-year-old boy from Novaliches suffered dizziness. They were immediately treated and rushed to the hospital.
Kung maaari lang naman po, no, yung mga bata, medyo mga 5 years old, bababa, siguro wag na po nating dalhin, o yung mga matatanda na hindi na po kaya talaga nandito kasi medyo mainit yung panahon.
No other untoward incident has been recorded.
So far, wala tayong nakikitang nagiging problema, wala tayong untoward incidents na nare-report. Itong mga kababayan natin, nakita naman natin very organized, no? At nakita natin very cooperative sa ating ini-implement na security measures.
Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Several merchants are complaining as they struggle for days at the Manila Memorial Park in Parañaque City. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
With
the influx of people in cemeteries, the number of merchants is increasing to take the opportunity to earn money by selling their goods. At the Manila Memorial Park in Sucat, Parañaque City, a variety of goods are noticeable even at the entrance of the cemetery. However, some of the vendors are complaining because of experiencing weak sales for days now.
Pero nung nakaraan, mas maganda yung bentahan nung nakaraan dahil mas talagang yung tao, maraming pupunta.
Ay, hindi naman siguro malugi basta tuloy-tuloy lang yung ikot mo sipag o makakabinta ka rin.
According to Police Chief Inspector Rodolfo Placido, this afternoon they have recorded that only around 7,000 people to have entered the Memorial Park. But more people are expected to visit tomorrow that will surely cause heavy traffic in Sucat.
Ayaw ko lang po, agahan nyo pong pumunta para hindi ko kayo matraffic o matrap sa traffic o wag na po natin dalhin yung hindi dapat.
Meanwhile, according to the general manager of the Memorial Park, about 100,000 people visited yesterday and left early this morning. They are also prepared for the security which is implemented inside the park with the help of different government agencies.
Mapapayo ko lang po dahil lang atin naman traffic rules at routine dito sa loob ng Manila Memorial, may naka-routine naman na naka-aro kung saan sila dapat dumaan. So hindi na lamang po.
Some of the famous personalities buried at the Manila Memorial Park are former Senator Ninoy Aquino, former President Corazon Aquino, and former Senator Robert Barbers. While movie personalities include Helen Vela, Rene Roquestas, Rico Yan, Paquito Diaz, Ike Losada, and Eddie Peregrina. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Parañaque City.
The Manila International Airport Authority is prioritizing certain improvements at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Joanano will tell us why.
The Manila International Airport Authority or MIAA is now focusing on resolving the heavy traffic around NAIA as well as eliminating opportunistic taxi drivers from the airport. They said it is to prepare for the next holiday season when the influx of passengers is even more expected. At present, they are continuously communicating with the Transportation Department to manage the traffic around the airport. General Manager Edmond Real believes that it will be convenient for motorists to go to the airport once the construction of the NAIA Expressway is completed. Meanwhile, he is calling for the cooperation of passengers to help them eliminate abusive taxi drivers from the airport terminals.
Kaya humingi ako ng tulong sa ating mga mananakay na wag po silang papayag na kontratahin ang kanilang pamasahe. Kailangan bayaran kung ano nasa taripa at kung gusto sila magbigay ng konting tip, di nasa kanila ho yun.
Monreal has a plea to opportunists who ruin the image of NAIA.
Di man lang iniisip yung imahe ng ating bayan. Kailangan magtulungan tayo. Hindi ho namin kaya mag-isa to. Kailangan sila mag-cooperate at irespeto yung tamang dapat gawin. Kasi at the end of the day, it's the Philippines. It's our country who's being reflected.
For complaints or reports about any irregularities at NAIA, reach NAIA customer hotline at 877-1111 or send a text message through their text line number at 0917-839-6262. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Local government units have implemented traffic rerouting schemes on different roads leading to cemeteries. Monokson tells us why.
Many roads near cemeteries have been closed by local government units to lessen traffic congestion. One-way traffic scheme is implemented around cemeteries in Metro Manila. For those going to Manila South Cemetery, portions of Kalayaan, South Avenue, Vito Cruz and Pililla Street are closed. Likewise, portions of Aurora Boulevard, Dimasalang, P. Guevara, Blumentritt, Retiro, and Leonor Rivera in Manila North, La Loma, and Chinese Cemetery in Manila are also closed to motorists. Vehicles are allowed to enter inside Loyola Memorial Park in Marikina, but are barred to enter the Loyola Memorial Park in Parañaque. In line with this, local officials appeal to the public not to bring vehicles, if possible, to avoid inconvenience.
Dito sa Marikina, ginawa nating one-way ang mga kalsada patungo sa mga sementeryo. At ganoon din, one-way palabas ng mga sementeryo. At nakikita naman natin ang kaayusan dito. Tuloy-tuloy ang pasok ng mga sasakyan, tuloy-tuloy din ang paglabas.
Aside from places near cemeteries, traffic is manageable all over Metro Manila. The MMDA is monitoring the flow of traffic on major roads and also the management of the North and South Luzon Expressway. MMDA also reminds motorists that the number coding is suspended in Metro Manila until tomorrow. But come November 2, Wednesday, the expanded window hours in the number coding scheme will be implemented on a number of roads around Metro Manila. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Motorists and commuters are now enjoying light traffic around Metro Manila since it is a holiday. Mon Hocson is at Delta Quezon Avenue to tell us why, live. Yes, Mon.
Good evening, Darlene. Let's check the traffic situation with the help of our different live points around Metro Manila. Let's check first the traffic situation here in West Avenue, or rather in Quezon Avenue. Vehicles coming from EDSA going to Quezon Avenue will not encounter any problem as of this moment. And also for eastbound vehicles coming from España, they will not experience any problem up to EDSA and Elliptical Road. Let us now check the traffic situation along Quezon Boulevard. Because it's holiday, moderate traffic going to España and light traffic going to Loton. Let's check Commonwealth Techno Hub. From Philcoa to Tandangsora, no congestion at all. Light traffic for the whole stretch of Commonwealth eastbound lane. Light traffic also from Tandangsora to Philcoa. Let us check EDSA Guadalupe. From Guadalupe going to Shoal Boulevard, northbound is light traffic. Likewise also for from Orense going to Ayala or southbound, light traffic in EDSA Guadalupe. Reminders to all motorists, number coding is suspended until tomorrow but will resume again Wednesday morning. And that's our traffic update. Back to you.
Thank you, Mon. And that's Mon Hocson reporting live from Delta Quezon Avenue.
Next in Y News. Affected residents in Tacloban City lament over delays in the construction of permanent housing units 3 years after the onslaught of Super Typhoon Yolanda.
The Philippine government hopes that fishing without Chinese interference in Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal will last long. And UNTV's partner in public service, the Members Church of God International, receives recognition from the Filipino community in Australia.
Y News will be right back. The Philippine Military Academy has officially recognized 368 new cadets representing PMA Masidlawing class of 2020. The recognition rites were held alongside the celebration of the 18th foundation of PMA. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana led the gathering, where he ensured that the cadets will be given enough equipment under the Duterte administration. The Masidlawing class is composed of 329 males and 39 females. The construction of permanent housing units in Tacloban City are still incomplete 3 years after the onslaught of Super Typhoon Yolanda. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
A drone shot from UNTV drone captured how the construction of permanent housing units in Tacloban City progresses. On the 8th of November, residents of Tacloban City will mark the third-year commemoration of Super Typhoon Yolanda, and yet many houses are not yet fully constructed while the others are yet to be built. Currently, only 200 families are living in permanent housing units in Tacloban. The City Housing Department says they plan to construct 2,000 houses here, but only 989 families were able to occupy these houses. The National Housing Authority was able to complete some of the housing units, but the completed ones are still have to be checked by the city engineer before the houses are recommended for occupancy. Tacloban City Mayor Cristina Romualdez says President Rodrigo Duterte is set to inspect permanent shelter units in the north and will also look into the condition of affected residents.
Actually, before pa kami nag-plan ng anniversary, we heard already that he was going to come, not only for the anniversary, but even to check, the housing and all these other things here, sa Yolanda victim. So, we're really hoping that he will be with us during the memorial.
Meanwhile, the city government also targets to transfer 16,281 families, including those living in danger zones, to permanent houses until 2018.
Our major problem, I think, for Tacloban now is moving these people living in the danger zones doon sa safe area. Kaya nga talagang tinutukan namin yung tubig. Para talagang yung basic services, magkaroon sila at para ma-move sila doon sa kanilang dapat tirahan.
Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine government hopes that fishing without Chinese interference in Bajo de Masinloc will last long. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
It has been 4 years since China seized the Scarborough Shoal or Bajo de Masinloc and prevented the Filipino fishermen in the area. This is one of the disputed territories of the Philippines and China in the South China or West Philippine Sea. However, last week, Filipino fishermen started to return in the area and fish without Chinese interference, though Chinese Coast Guard vessels are still present. According to the Presidential Security Advisor and former Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff Hermogenes Esperon, the government hopes the situation will continue to become better. This is despite the absence of formal agreement between the two countries regarding the disputed territory. Also, no conditions have been set yet by China in exchange of allowing the Filipino fishermen in the area.
We hope it will be for a longer time. Walang condition kasi wala katapos-tapos na. It's ongoing.
According to the Chinese government, the Philippines and China are in communication of the fishery cooperation and fishing industrial cooperation, which were initially discussed during the recent state visit of President Rodrigo Duterte in China. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lu Kang says it is possible for the two countries to return to the track of managing disputes through consultation and focusing on cooperation. Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard keeps on patrolling in the area and also looks after the Filipino fishermen.
Yeah, Coast Guard, nakakapunta rin naman sa atin doon. Coast Guard ang nandun sa kanila yan, Coast Guard din tayo.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Filipino Community Council of Australia has recognized UNTV's partner in public service, Members Church of God International, in a gala dinner at Queensland, Australia. Nina Bascon tells us why.
The Filipino Community Council of Australia or PhilCA gives recognition to outstanding groups and individuals for their contribution in community services.
Ito rin ay isang magandang pagkakataon. Pagbibigay pugay sa kanila at saka para maging inspirasyon naman sila para sa mga kabataan.
The Members Church of God International, New South Wales and Victoria chapters were among the recipients of the awards at the PhilCA National Conference 2016 held in Queensland, Australia on Saturday. UNTV volunteers who support all the advocacies of the group joined the awards night. MCGI Australia chapter is grateful for the recognition.
Ito po ay isang inspirasyon na magtutulak po sa ating lahat na ipagpatuloy ang paggawa ng mabuti. Ito po ay gagawin natin dahil po sa advokasya ni Kuya Daniel at ni Brother Eli na ang paggawa ng mabuti ay hindi magbubunga ng masama. To God be the glory.
At ito ay para sa karangalan ng Panginoon. Kaya lagi nating sinasabi, to God be the glory. Salamat sa Diyos.
MCGI will continue to be a partner of UNTV in all its public services, even those held in different parts of the world. Amongst the many awardees, MCGI stands out as the only organization to have received a recognition for its relentless public services. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Brisbane, Australia.
Department of Foreign Affairs confirms that no Filipino was hurt or killed in the recent 6.6 magnitude earthquake in central Italy yesterday. Foreign Affairs Assistant Secretary Charles Jose assures that all 25 Filipinos residing in Norcia, where the epicenter was recorded, are safe. Jose says the embassy in Rome is awaiting full repair of roads before they transfer our compatriots from Norcia to Rome. As of today, some parts of Italy still suffer from shortage of power and water supply. A single parent's wish has now become a reality through UNTV's Munting Pangarap. June Soria will tell us why.
Ang munting pangarap po, magkaroon lang po ako ng kahit kaunting puhunan po para makapagtinda-tinda po. Lalo po ngayon mahina po ang buko salad. Gusto ko meron pa po ko ibang matitinda ng kamutikyo, banana Q, turon, o kaya yung lumpia.
So ngayon, ito ay dagdag na pangkabuhayan at saka iba pang mga pwede nilang maitinda sa araw-araw.
UNTV's Munting Pangarap has granted the wish of Sanel Taguba, who wants to earn more as she raises her 4 children alone since her husband passed away 10 years ago. Nell, a resident of Quezon City, is usually seen genially peddling her iced candies. And when it rains, she offers laundry services.
Mahirap po magpalaki ng mga anak, lalo po single parents po. Minsan hiningi ko na lang po sa taas. Pag ako po may problema, pinapanalangin ko po. Pinapasalamat ko po sa Diyos. Unang-una po, iniingatan po yung mga anak ko. Tapos, binibigyan po sila ng lakas.
Despite being a single parent, Nell has managed to raise her children responsibly and caring.
Papasalamat po ako sa Diyos kasi binibigay ni Mama lahat ng gusto namin. Nagpapahirap si Mama magtrabaho para bigyan kami ng magandang kinabukasan. Mag-aaral po ako ng mabuti para po kapag nakapagtapos na po ako ng pag-aaral, pwede ko na pong tulungan yung mama ko at yung mga kapatid ko para may iahon ko po sila sa kahirapan.
Maraming salamat po, Kuya Daniel. Natupad na rin po sa awa ng Diyos po ang aking munting pangarap po. Ilang taong ko pong kaso hindi ko po sukat akalain na nabunot po ako. Hindi ko rin sukat akalain po na ganun po sa awa ng Diyos. Nabunot po yung aking munting pangarap na matagal ko na pong inasam-asam na hindi ko rin po sukat akalain na ganun po nangyari din sa akin. Kaya maraming salamat po sa inyo at sa mga staff po at salamat rin po sa Diyos. Natupad na rin po.
Jun Soriao for Serbisyong Kasangbahay.
Coming up, a low-pressure area has already entered the Philippine area of responsibility, likely to bring moderate to heavy rainfall in the coming days.
UNICEF reports that 1 in 7 children around the world is breathing highly polluted air.
And autumn draws spectacular picture of West China while visitors continue to flock China's ancient architecture at this time of the year.
More from Y News after this break. A low-pressure area has now entered the Philippine area of responsibility. Pag-asa located the weather system at 810 kilometers east of Davao City. It is embedded with the intertropical convergence zone that affects Mindanao, Visayas, and Palawan. Light to moderate rains will be experienced in Bicol region, Cagayan, and Isabela in the coming days, while isolated rain shower and thunderstorms will prevail over Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Small vessels and sea crafts are advised not to venture in the western and northern seaboards of Luzon due to high waves. Meanwhile, another LPA was spotted outside Par and was located at 1,910 kilometers east of Visayas at 10 a.m. today. Pag-asa says it may develop into a tropical cyclone and will be named Marce once it enters Par by Wednesday or Thursday. The United Nations Children's Fund reports that 1 in 7 children suffer because of high air pollution. Mary Jo Malariado tells us why.
The UN Children Agency, or UNICEF, releases a study today which says that about 300 million children, or nearly 1 in 7 worldwide, live in areas with high levels of outdoor air pollution. UNICEF says that children's growing bodies are most vulnerable to damage because of the air that is at least 6 times dirtier than international guidelines set by the World Health Organization. The WHO estimates that outdoor air pollution caused by factories, power plants, and vehicles using fossil fuels killed 3.7 million in 2012, while UNICEF says it is a major contributing factor in the deaths of around 600,000 children under 5 every year, causing illnesses such as pneumonia. Of the total, 220 million lived in South Asia. It identified the regions with satellite imagery developed by NASA. Because of this, UNICEF has called on almost 200 governments that will meet in Morocco this November for talks on global warming to take urgent action to reduce air pollution. The call is to improve the children's access to health care and to step up the monitoring of the air for everyone's health safety. Mary Jo Malariado, UNTV News and Rescue, Singapore.
Authorities in Saudi Arabia arrested 2 Pakistanis, a Syrian and a Sudanese, after intensified security investigations. Bong Duquesa tells us why.
Saudi Arabia has arrested at least 8 suspected militants plotting killings in a car bombing, and authorities were pursuing other accomplices. A ministry statement said those arrested included Islamic State suspects who had planned killings of security officials in the Shakra district north of the capital Riyadh. Other militants had planned to attack civilians in the eastern city of Khatib and stage a car bomb attack on the visiting United Arab Emirates football team at the stadium in the western port city of Jeddah. The 8 arrested suspects included 2 Pakistanis, a Syrian, and a Sudanese who had been seized after intensified security investigations. 8 Saudis and a Bahraini were among the suspects still at large.
لأنه من يوفر معلومات تؤدي إلى القبض عليهم ينطبق بحقه الأمر السامي الكريم اللي قضى بمنح مكافآت مالية مقدارها مليون ريال لكل من يدلي بمعلومات تؤدي إلى القبض على أحد المطلوبين و5 ملايين ريال في حال القبض على أكثر من مطلوب و7 ملايين ريال في حال توفير معلومات تؤدي إلى إحباط عمليات إرهابية.
Saudi security forces have grappled with sporadic attack by adherents to the ultra-hardline Islamic State militant group, which is based in Iraq and Syria, and say they have arrested hundreds of its members. Bong Duquesa, UNTV News and Rescue, Al Khobar, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Asylum seekers sent to Manus Island in Nauru after attempting to travel to Australia by boat will be permanently banned from applying to enter the country. Nina Bascon tells us why.
Government will introduce legislation in the next parliamentary sitting week to amend the Migration Act to prevent irregular maritime arrivals taken to a regional processing country from making a valid application for an Australian visa.
The Australian government announced on Sunday, October 30, a proposed new law which will impose stricter rules to asylum seekers entering the country. The bill will apply to all taken to a regional processing country since the 19th of July 2013. The current policy of sending asylum seekers who arrive in Australian waters by boat to countries like Papua New Guinea and Nauru, where their status as refugee is confirmed or rejected, has bipartisan support in the Australian Parliament. It was on July 19, 2013, that previous Labor Prime Minister Kevin Rudd declared that no irregular maritime arrival would ever settle in Australia. Immigration Minister Peter Dutton said the policy would not apply to anyone who was under the age of 18 on the date they arrived at either Manus Island, Nauru, or any other country designated as a regional processing country. Up to 3,000 people on Manus Island, Nauru, or in Australia undergoing medical treatment could be affected by the proposed laws.
We accept thousands of refugees, and we do so willingly, but we will not tolerate any repeat of the people smuggling ventures which resulted in over 1,200 deaths at sea under the Labor Party and 50,000 unauthorised arrivals.
The Prime Minister says it is important to deliver that strong message to people smugglers, that the door to Australia is closed to those who seek to enter by boat. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Melbourne, Australia.
Calais residents say the destruction of the jungle camp will not stop migrants from returning to the French port town. June Garin tells us why.
City officials and humanitarian aid volunteers in Calais have expressed concerns that another camp like the notorious jungle will emerge unless the French and British governments take measures to deal with the situation. Since France orders the closure of the jungle camp, 6,000 refugees and migrants have been sent off to refugee centers all over the country during 6 days of demolition and evacuation. The situation in Calais is not unlike the one that the nearby town of Sandgate faced in 2002, when it made the news as the French government tore down a Red Cross camp. The Sandgate camp hosted 2,000 refugees at its peak, many from Kosovo and Afghanistan. They tried to sneak onto trains, shuttles, and ferries to get to the UK. In the end, the UK agreed to accept 1,300, while the rest were handled by France. Refugee social workers say many evacuated jungle residents have moved straight into smaller camps in the region.
The problem here isn't the camp itself. The problem is the issue of there not being a legal way to get into the UK to make a claim for asylum. And as long as that's the case, we're always going to have camps in northern France, people trying to get there illegally.
The camp in Calais and Sandgate were both consequences of turmoil surrounding Europe. The Kosovo War from 1996 to 1999 triggered a large influx of refugees into Europe, and the current Syria crisis has induced another influx. Many in Calais, including Mayor Natasha Bouchard, are calling for the French government to take measures to deal with the refugee influx so that there will be no more camps.
Un autre camp, une autre jungle, un autre campement peut s'organiser si le gouvernement ne met pas en place un dispositif stratégique global à partir des pays qui sont en guerre ou pour avoir une régulation des migrants économiques.
June Garin, UNTV News and Rescue, Paris, France.
Dreamworld CEO Craig Davidson says the theme park where 4 people died will remain closed for a certain period of time. Kate Alba tells us why.
Dreamworld CEO Craig Davidson on Sunday, October 30th announced efforts to help re-establish community trust in a theme park where 4 adults died after being trapped under an upturned raft. Davidson had appointed community recovery expert Mark McKay to lead the task. 2 men and 2 women were killed on Tuesday, October 25th on the Thunder River Rapid Ride at Dreamworld near the tourist magnet Gold Coast district in southeastern Queensland.
Mike's role with us here at Dreamworld will be to develop a comprehensive community engagement and recovery program. This rebuilding program is firstly about commencing the healing process. Secondly, it is about rebuilding trust and confidence in Dreamworld.
McKay, a retired police inspector, worked with the Lockyer Valley community in the wake of the 2011 Queensland floods, including assisting the people of Granham Township as they relocated their community to higher ground, and community recovery following Cyclone Larry in 2006. Australia's Ardent Leisure Group said on Friday, October 28, the Dreamworld theme park will remain closed following the accident. The park had planned to reopen on Friday, but abandoned the plan after public backlash.
There's some fantastic community support out there at the moment, but we appreciate that we need to show the world, and it is an international situation, that this is going to be a safe and happy and comfortable place for them to come back to.
People have continued to leave floral tributes at the Dreamworld theme park, remembering the victims. Kate Alba, UNTV News and Rescue, Gold Coast, Australia.
The European Union and Canada signed a controversial trade deal despite a last-minute hurdle. Bianca Quijano will tell us why.
The European Union and Canada signed a trade agreement on Sunday to boost economic growth and create jobs. after weeks of delays due to opposition in Belgium. The agreement was signed in Brussels after a meeting between Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, European Council President Donald Tusk, and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. According to the deal, EU member states and Canada will exempt each other from customs duties on almost 99% of goods, including food and automobiles.
By scrapping almost all import duties, European exporters of industrial and agricultural goods will save up to 500 million euros every day.
The two sides will expand trade volumes in many fields in the future, including industrial and agricultural products, which are of huge importance to strengthen their trade cooperation.
With greater access to European markets, Canadian businesses can continue to grow and create more of the jobs Canadian families need. We know that jobs in competitive exporting sectors offer better pay, with wages that are 50% higher than in industries that are not trade intensive. And those are the kinds of jobs we look forward to welcoming as a result of today's agreement. Greater market access, more economic growth, and stronger job creation.
Canada is the first country in the Group of Seven, also known as G7, to sign such a free trade agreement with the EU. Meanwhile, the EU hopes to strengthen cooperation with Canada in the energy industry and Arctic exploration. Bianca Quijano, UNTV News and Rescue, Toronto, Canada.
Nationalist Party Chairwoman Hung Shu-chu leaves Taiwan for China despite the growing anger at home. Meanwhile, South Korean President Park Geun-hye accepts the resignations of top government aides amid a crisis. Amiel Pascual will tell us why.
The presidential office on Sunday confirms that South Korean President Park Geun-hye accepted the resignation of top presidential aides, including that of the Chief of Staff.
대통령 비서실장과 수석 비서관 전원이 사표를 제출하였습니다마는 국정 상황을 고려하여 이중 비서실장과 정책조정, 정무, 민정, 홍보수석 비서관의 사표를 수리했습니다.
Jong adds that 3 longtime Park aides had also stepped down. The departure of top presidential officials comes as Park is grappling with the recent influence peddling scandal involving an old friend Choi Soon-sil. Choi returned to South Korea from Germany on Sunday as the political crisis engulfed Park over allegations that she allowed Choi to use her friendship to exert improper influence and benefit personally. And in Taiwan, Nationalist Party KMT Chairwoman Hung Shui-chu leaves Taiwan for China, where she will be holding a meeting with President Xi Jinping, a visit that has provoked anger and support. China has broken off communications with Taiwan after its new President Tsai Ing-wen took office on May 20. Hung in her departure speech said something should be done so as not to create a gap between the people of Beijing and Taiwan, thus her actions.
就是因为这个两岸的政府现在这个沟通中断，那么因此我们觉得民间的温度交流的温度还是要持续，所以我们要继续做这个推手让这个两岸的民间的交流不会中断，而且能够有更好的一些成果，不能够因为政府跟政府之间冷若冰霜，就让这个两岸的人民也开始有了隔阂，这是不好的。
After stopping overnight in China, Hung will arrive in Beijing on Tuesday, November 1, and will meet with President Xi Jinping during an annual party-to-party gathering labor, economic, and cultural plans. Neil Pascual, UNTV News and Rescue, Taipei, Taiwan.
Marian Cilic takes a Basel Open title, while tennis star Dominika Cibulkova brings home her biggest victory yet. Aaron Romero tells us why.
In tennis, Slovakian Dominika Cibulkova secures the biggest victory of her career as she stormed to a 6-3, 6-4 triumph over world number 1 Angelique Kerber to claim the WTA Finals title. Cibulkova, making her debut in the Elite 8 women event, never gave up to top seed Kerber. Cibulkova, for toppling world number 1 Kerber, climbs to a career high world number 5 in the next rankings. Meanwhile, Marin Cilic defeats Japanese Kei Nishikori for the Basel Open title to edge closer to securing his place in the ATP World Tour Finals in London next month. The powerful Croatian wins with 6-1, 7-6 to claim a 16th ATP Tour title and consolidates 9th place in the race standings. Rafael Nadal's decision to end his season early means Cilic is actually holding the last berth for the 8-man showdown at London's O2 Arena. Aaron Romero, UNTV News and Rescue, New York.
Malacanang Kamao is all set for the next round of eliminations of the UNTV Cup Season 5. Meanwhile, both the NHA Builders and the BFP Firefighters were able to bring home another win. Bernardades will tell us why.
UNTV Cup spectators witnessed yet another jaw-dropping triple-header yesterday at Pasig City Sports Center.
Favorite shot,
in the first game, the NHA Builders demolished the GSIS Furies' offense and defense as they claim another win, their second this season, which brought them to the third spot under Group B. They are tied with the HOR Solons with 2 wins and 2 losses. Builders big man Marvin Mercado was hailed as the best player of the game after birdieing 22 points and grabbing 6 rebounds in the 86-79 match. Meanwhile, the GSIS Furies is down with a 1-3 win-loss record.
The guys who play with fire.
In the second game, the VFP Firefighters went ablaze with their intense offense coming from both starters and their deep bench. Gilbert Malabanan led the Firefighters, making 24 points together with Anthony Emmanuel Lim, who scored 22 points. The Firefighters sit on the second spot in Group A after defeating the Senate Defenders, who now have 0 win and 5 losses.
Javier with a good evasive move. Jimenez is
and in the third game, the Malacanang Kamao remains firm in their stance to maintain a clean 4-0 win-loss record to head to the second round eliminations of the UNTV Cup Season 5. In a match between defending champions AFP Cavaliers, Eric De La Cuesta geared the Kamao towards the 71-61 win. The former PBL player produced 26 points, 4 rebounds and 4 steals, thus hailed the best player of the game. The defending champs dropped to the third seed with 2 wins and 2 losses alongside the MMDA Black Wolves.
We're representing the Office of the President. That's malaking ng motivation sa amin yun. Pangalawa, itong panalong to. Pangatlo, may isang player akong wala dito, si Christian Luwanson. Pare, magpagaling ka na. Okay, dinededicate namin yung larong to sa kanya.
Watch out for more hardcore action with a heart for public service at the League of Public Servants. Bernard Dennis for UNTV Cup Season 5.
The month of November is an ideal month to experience China's Great Wall and the spectacular autumn in southwest China's Tibet Autonomous Region. Dulce Alarcon tells us why.
Late October is the best time to visit Linji City in southwest China's Tibet Autonomous Region, as autumn has drawn a spectacular and touching pictures with red and golden tree leaves covering hills and snow on top of mountains. The quiet forest, tranquil lake, and the peaceful cottage at the hill foot purify one's mind. The forest in northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region has also turned golden, but this populous Euphratica forest has an important mission to fulfill. They stand between Taklimakan Desert and the Tarim River and guard against the sandstorm invasion. They have stood there for more than 1,000 years, and yet they are as vibrant as ever. Meanwhile, this time of the year is also the best for walking and hiking at China's great architecture, the Great Wall. Built around 2,300 years ago, it is named among the 7 wonders of the world and considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Great Wall of China, being one of the greatest engineering projects on Earth, attracts more and more visitors from home and the world each year. Hundreds of millions of visitors have been to its various sections, and in peak seasons, the visitor flow can be up to 70,000 per day. Little we know that the Great Wall of China has been called the longest cemetery on earth. Over 1 million people died building the wall, and archaeologists have found human remains buried under the parts of the wall. Nevertheless, it remains the must-visit attraction in China. As the founding father of the People's Republic of China Chairman Mao Zedong said, "Until you reach the Great Wall, you are no hero." Dulce Alarcon, UNTV News and Rescue, Beijing, China.
Those are the reasons behind the news, October 31, 2016. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Gerry Alcantara.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching Why News.